All right, I think we're reaching a good group here. Thanks so much for coming, everyone. We'll get started in just a second here. And happy August. Chelsea, do you have the slides up?
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick.
Awesome. And I saw some people asking in the chat. No, the music is not AI generated, at least to my knowledge. And the coalition likes to keep a playlist of the music that we've used on our channel. So we can share that afterwards. Awesome. With that, thank you everyone for coming today. Again, like usual, this is a place for all of us to come together as government practitioners and those that work with government to tackle the pressing problems, challenges, and the opportunities that we see around emerging technology and AI today, making sure that the AI that we use in the public sector benefits the public good. I'm going to pass it off to Layla to go through announcements. And as we're having these conversations, please continue to talk in the chat. Zoom has that new chat feature where you can start conversations with smaller groups. I encourage that. This is all about building that community around government and AI. So, Layla, I'll pass it to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Albert. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Layla Doty, Privacy and AI Analyst at the City of San Jose. If this is your first meeting with the GovAI Coalition, welcome. Very happy to have you here. The coalition currently conducts its activities in 6 committees. You can see those on the screen right now. And there's a lot of work going on in the coalition. And so if you're new and it's feeling a little bit overwhelming, we have some great places to start. First place is the starter guide. It's linked on the deck right there, and we'll drop it in the chat for you. Check out our Google Calendar. That's where you can see all the different committee meetings that are happening this month. And then we also have a quick walkthrough on how exactly to download and import those Zoom invites into your calendar. Great. So we'll move on to the next slide. We have just a couple quick announcements for you guys until we get into our guest speaker for today. First is that the August newsletter is out. We emailed it out to everyone yesterday. If you didn't receive it, we'll drop that link in the chat right now. In this edition, we cover a couple updates regarding the summit, the latest in the AI industry, some things that are going on there. Also, some recent analysis of the American AI action plan that came out of the Trump administration a couple weeks ago. And then another thing that I want to point out in the newsletter that we recognize is that over the last month, the GovAI Coalition and some of our members were recently recognized as winners of the inaugural AI 50 Awards from the Center for Public Sector AI. And so I want to congratulate all of you, the GovAI Coalition, and also the individual winners that we had on that list for the amazing work that you all are doing around responsible AI in the public sector. Very well deserved.
One of them being the person that was talking right then and there.
Thank you, Albert. It was a long list of coalition members, which I think just goes to show some of the amazing work that's happening in the coalition. So thank you all. Awesome. So that's the newsletter. Actually, sorry, Chelsea, if we could go back real quick to that last slide. Thank you, Uma. I see your message in the chat. So one other thing I just want to call out again, we put out these newsletters on a monthly basis, and we really like to highlight member perspectives as well. And so if there's a topic related to AI and government that's been stewing in the back of your mind lately, something you're passionate about that you think would be helpful to write about and share with the rest of the coalition, we'd love to feature your perspectives on our Substack. And so if you're interested in writing something, you can submit that interest via this link to a form that we have on the slide right here, and we'll drop it in the chat. Sorry, if there's an echo, let me know. I think someone else might need to mute themselves. So if you're interested in writing a blog for our Substack, let us know. We'd love to feature your work in a future newsletter. Okay, thanks, Chelsea. We can keep it moving. Okay, so as you all know, the second GovAI Coalition Summit is coming up this year in November. It's going to be November 5th through 6th for the two full summit days. And then on the 7th, we're going to have a government-only town hall. I'm going to launch a quick Zoom poll right now for you all to just fill out as I go through the next couple of slides. Planning is very much underway for the summit, and so this poll has a couple questions around if you're planning to register and if you already have registered for the summit. And so your responses are going to help us as we move forward with some of the planning here, like for the town hall, for example. Chelsea, we can go to the next slide while folks are filling out this poll. Cool. So last month, Albert very graciously walked us through the agenda that was recently released for the summit. If you'd like to check it out again or in more detail, we'll drop the link in the chat. You can find it on the webpage for the GovAI Coalition Summit that's hosted by GovTech. And we have some great sessions planned for you all. One of the feedback that we got from the first summit last year was that folks are really interested in more workshops and hands-on interactive sessions. And so we've done our best to really incorporate that into the programming this year. So we have some workshops planned around how to read an AI fact sheet, how to conduct an AI risk assessment, things like that. So definitely give it a look if you haven't already. Next slide. Cool, and I want to thank Chelsea and Khaled for this one, but we recently put together a justification letter in case it's helpful to any of you all as you are looking to register for the summit. I know that sometimes these kinds of letters can be helpful as you're trying to get travel requests approved by your leadership. And so if you still haven't registered for the summit yet, this might be a helpful thing to include in your travel request. And you can find this document linked on the GovTech GovAI Coalition Summit webpage, and we'll also put the link to it in the chat right now. But this will just kind of give your leadership an idea of what exactly the summit is and the various benefits and opportunities that you can experience if you attend. Awesome. And then we just have the same details as always on this slide. The dates for the summit, you all know that's going to be the 5th through the 7th of November this year. It's going to be at the San Jose Convention Center. It's a great location. It's where we had it last year. And then as you're booking your flights and your travel, make sure that when you book your hotels, that you use our group rate that we have on the screen right there. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end the poll. Thank you all for filling it out. And I believe that's my last slide. And Albert, I'm going to pass it over to you so that we can jump into our guest speaker section for today.
Thank you, Layla, and thank you folks for filling this out. We're seeing the calls for more rooms, more room blocks. Layla, I know we've asked GovTech to open up some new ones already. Maybe those ones got filled again.
Yeah. If all the rooms are taken, we'll work with GovTech to open more rooms. So rest assured. Thanks for letting us know.
Awesome. Then with that, I want to welcome to join this conversation with me is Jim Brown, who's been with us in the coalition for well over a year now. He has his background in fire safety, public safety. He's with the Monterey Fire Department for 30 years. He's been serving as an instructor and an educator in fire departments for over a decade now. And within the coalition, he has been a key person, the lead on building out our AI for public safety education. A lot of his work has contributed, and his expertise has led to the creation of so much of the education that we have so far. We'll drop and share some of that material right here. And over the last 13 years, he's also served in the National Fire Academy as an educator there. So he not only knows the coalition, but he also knows his this space around public safety, fire, and is working very closely with a lot of our police departments right now as we're tooling up our AI for police education as well. I wanted to bring him on today because I think as we're thinking about the latest and greatest of AI, understanding its implications and what our public safety partners should know and understand is critical. So, with that, I am going to see here if we can spotlight Jim and myself on the call. There we go. Hey, Jim.
Good morning, Albert. Very, very generous of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm interesting. The class that I teach at the National Fire Academy is a data analysis class. So when ChatGPT was first introduced, it kind of the class lent itself to us exploring AI and how it could work with data analysis and those technology tools that now are pretty ubiquitous for anybody who's actually using the tools. And so it was a great introduction for me, led me back to the GovAI Coalition, where we started working on some more formal education. So it's been a really great experience. It's a great group. Nothing happens in a vacuum. So I appreciate what you're saying, but I've had a great team of people around me and supporting me, both inside the coalition and outside the coalition. So that's really what success comes from, partnerships, for sure.
Amen to that, Jim. I want to really just dive in. Look, what is top of your mind, and what are you seeing as top of mind for public safety around AI right now? And there's a million different things that people are getting sold, offered, contacted about. Where are you seeing real value today around AI in public safety?
Well, my background's in the fire service, so public safety is a little bit broader. So I'll speak to what I know in the fire service
For
and
sure.
what I see happening. There's roughly 32,000 fire departments in the United States, and they range everywhere from a single station rural fire department that runs 100 fires a year, and that's all they do, up to large organizations like FDNY, CAL FIRE, Baltimore, that are running 500,000 to 1 million calls a year. So it runs the whole gamut of the services that we provide in the fire service. And with that, what we get is the fire service is kind of a microcosm of our society. So you see that there are early adopters, there are advanced users, and there's people who don't know anything about AI and why would I ever need it in the fire department. So it's all over the map right now. And that's kind of leads me to kind of the first thought is the unknown unknowns. There's so many fire departments that just don't know what the tools can do and don't know how to use them once they find out. So that's the biggest gap. And that's what we're trying to address from the education side. You know, I love UC Irvine had a little statement last year that came out that said you have to educate to innovate. And they said you have to educate your whole organization. So our focus with our training platform has been to educate just foundational education from the bare basic beginnings all the way through some advanced use cases.
And I'm curious as you're talking through this, are there past examples that you've seen of this wave of adoption, right? If this is something where it's, AI in fire is mimicking AI in society, like, are there lessons from the past that we can think about this type of adoption wave and how we might be able to support our teams?
Well, sure. There's always been early adopters, right?
Yeah.
So and we see this, one of the sessions that we teach in our class, which is a lot of fun, is we have the students come up and present some new technology that's been implemented in their department. So over the course of teaching this class for the past 10 years, we'll see somebody come up with something that's brand new to their department, and then 3 years later, somebody will do the same presentation, and now it's brand new to their department. So it's not new technology to the fire service; it's just new to them. So we've had this kind of scaling adoption has been going on, I think, in all technology forever. But what's different this time is the pace of advancement. So your ability to get behind in AI adoption is exponentially different than what it was with any other technology. And while we look at AI as being maybe the great leveler of the playing field, the great equalizer, the reality is what we're seeing right now is it's a great divider. Those people who really are early adopters and learning how to use AI they're getting grants that people aren't getting because they're able to write better quality grant applications using AI. They're able to get better data analysis because they're using AI. So it's really creating a divide now. And one of the things we need to address is how do we make sure people don't fall too far behind?
Jim, if you could just help paint the picture for me and everyone on the call around these types of successes you're seeing with early adopters, right? So I'm hearing like using this to support folks as they are writing their grant applications to better polish them up or improve them, make sure that they fit the requirements. I'm hearing another element here around potentially data analysis. Could you go into a bit more detail on that to help it feel real for folks?
So a couple of examples. So like doing after action reports are really important in the fire service. So looking at what we did on an emergency scene and what we could have done better, how did it match up with our policies and our best practices? So being able to take things like the audio transcript from the dispatch center and upload that up to an AI that has all of our policies and best practices and then compare the two. And that's a great example of a use case for where we don't have the time or the staffing necessary to create that after action report, but now AI can help us do it. One of the challenges that presents now is data governance, which is kind of a gap in the fire service. The folks that are jumping in with both feet aren't necessarily wearing a life preserver. So they need to understand data governance before they start jumping in and using these tools. So that's one of the gaps I'm seeing in the early adopters. And then we have some really great success stories with some of the large organizations. And I throw out Alert California, UC San Diego, I think it is, and the work that CAL FIRE and San Bernardino County have done with that and early wildfire detection with AI. Now, that's been a huge success, and it's expanded across the Western United States into Hawaii. So that being an early adopter and having a great corporate partner has allowed them to do some really, really cool stuff with that. So there's a couple of examples of things that's going on at a really local and intimate level, doing after action reports because our organization is so small, we don't have the staffing, up to having corporate partners doing these really advanced things.
Yeah, I love that, Jim, and I think it showcases the different types of maturity and different ways that departments can start experimenting or start testing things out in a safe way, regardless of where they're at. I mean, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like, theoretically, a department could go on to their AI of choice, take a recording and take their documents and just start seeing on how good of a job it does today. Now, is that a fair assessment?
Sure. The problem is governance. So is that recording, is it actually all public information? Is there private data in there? Is there stuff that should be protected? So there's a lot of considerations before we just jump in and do that. Yeah. And different tools will offer you different data protections where they'll say, oh, we don't use your data for training, but they don't consider the output of your query as being your data. That's their data. So now they're using the outputs to actually train the system. And then potentially private data becomes part of the public domain. So that's why, again, back to data governance and why it's so important.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing, I think this goes into a more of that conversation around like pitfalls. What are we seeing? I think data governance and data ownership is a key component there. And I'm seeing some questions in the chat that just build on that. Are there tactics or approaches that you've seen in working with either these models or the companies where my confidential data is able to stay confidential?
Sure. If you're using different enterprise platforms, either with Microsoft or Google, they have the ability to protect your data in isolated cloud environment. And I'm not a data specialist by any means. I listen to the folks on the data governance committee and learn from them.
Yeah.
But make sure you're using the right tools the right way is one of the most important things we can do.
Absolutely. And that's a great plug on the data governance committee. One thing I would recommend folks, if you're interested in having more of this conversation, the data governance committee has already shared a variety of different resources around data sharing when it comes to AI and on example data strategies. And increasingly, what they're working on today is around how to integrate an AI component, how you're thinking about AI when it comes to your data governance. And like you're saying, Jim, right, if we can put that policy in place for us, it's something that we can expect with our partners.
Right. And you have the vendor agreements also that are available as a working framework.
Absolutely.
So I mean, again, that's why I spent a lot of time on different conference calls talking about the tools that the GovAI Coalition has. Because, frankly, the fire service doesn't have a really unified message right now. They don't have any unified implementation plans that are templates for people to use. So there is nothing better right now than what the GovAI Coalition is offering, aimed at the public sector, that the fire service and public safety can adopt.
And for folks in the public safety that are trying these things out, please let us know how it goes. And if you make better versions, send them our way so that we can share those out. I want to move on because we got a little bit of time left. I want to move on to something around our civil society and research folks. Jim, we have a lot of folks from academia and from think tanks on the call right now, folks that have the capacity and those technical chops to really dive into answering some of these questions around AI, around data governance. What kind of research do you wish they were doing to support us in our next steps?
That's a great question. I think trying to identify the hurdles in implementation. So, because until we really understand why folks aren't adopting, it's hard to educate them, to know exactly what to focus on. So I think that's important. I think in some way trying to get people to really understand, and humans are very bad at understanding exponential growth, understand where this is going. I see a common statement right now, the fire service, AI is not going to replace you. And I go, yeah, it is. It's not going to replace you yet. But 20 years from now, if things keep going on this schedule, absolutely. There'll be robotic firefighters dragging hoses into buildings and getting people to really look at and understand that exponential growth and see the vision 20 years out it's huge.
Interesting. And I think it goes to talk through what it means for a fire department to adapt. Jim, you know this much better than I do, but I know as history is told, fire departments have really evolved into also being medical response in a certain amount, being able to provide some of those medical services. So if AI is serving to, as you're saying, point the hose and put out the fire, what does the next evolution of our fire services potentially look like for our fire officers and our teams?
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at there's an old saying in the fire service: hundreds of years of tradition unimpeded by progress. And it's a joke, but it's 100% untrue. The fire service is very cautious about adapting technology, but they're very good about adapting technology. So I appreciate the fact that we will make it work the best for the fire service. There's no doubt about that. And as I see the medical services, the fire service is all risk now. We're not just fires, and it's been that way for the past 30, 40 years. So medical services, what's interesting is firefighting is a very unique field. Medical services are ubiquitous. So from home health care to doctors to hospitals, emergency field care is a little bit different. It's a little bit more challenging, but it's on the fringe of a lot of science that's work that's going to be done for medical services. The fire service will be able to adapt that. The specific firefighting tools will come actually, I think, a little bit slower, even though I think they're mechanically easier to do, just because there's not going to be as much money and profit in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jim, I want to just save a little bit of time here. if the conversation around adoption support hurdles and that forward-looking plan, like, right, what does a fire department look like in 20 years, is around the civil society and researcher end, are there any things that you'd like to see or functionality being built in what industry is developing now? Or what should they be thinking about putting on their roadmaps you see could really help our fire departments?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, it's so hard to just keep up with what they can do now, you know, what,
Mm,
and as I tell folks, if you try something today and it didn't work, try again tomorrow because it might work tomorrow. Yeah, because things are just
Yep.
moving so fast. So yeah, I'm barely keeping my head above water, just understanding the tools that we have now, honestly.
Yeah, no, completely. But I think that goes to a point around approachability. If potentially one of the questions or things to be asked right now is if things move in a rapid pace, there is a necessary need for more of that training, making these tools, bringing us along for the ride. That I think is something that we're all figuring out. I mean, that's part of the reason why the coalition is here in the first place. Um, so no, I think that makes sense. Awesome. Let's see. I'm just looking through the chat here, and Jim, I've been seeing a bunch of people just talk about everything under the sun under here. So I might ask you through the rest of this call, if you see something interesting, please feel free to respond to people in the chat. Um, but is there any last words or things that you want to leave people with before we call this?
I would just say engage. It's no longer an option. I mean, this group is engaged, but for the fire service, it's not whether or not you're going to engage with AI. It's just how you're going to engage with AI now. It's either going to be an active choice or it's going to be passive, and shadow AI is going to be imposed upon you. And if you don't understand what AI is, then you're not going to be able to understand how it's being used.
Completely. And if people want to get more engaged here in the coalition around our fire and AI education, or I know there's a bit of a conversation around the police side as well. How could they get more involved in those?
The IAFC, International Association of Fire Chiefs, has a technology conference they do once a year, and it's AI was a sideline last year. It's going to be a highlight this year. It's becoming more prevalent in the national conversation. And then this group here is the only standing group that I know of that talks about AI in the fire service and public safety, and we're primarily focused on just this low-hanging fruit education. So all comers are welcome. Happy to put my email in the chat and have further discussions.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Yeah, please, Jim, put your email in the chat. For those that want to get more involved here in the coalition around AI and police safety and education, um, please join us in our readiness and adoption committee. That's where all this magic happens, and Jim has done a fantastic job. So please, everyone, yeah, share your chats. Round of applause. Thank you, Jim, so much for taking the time. And thank you again for all the work that you've done for the coalition, for the Fire Academy, and excited to see where we take this next.
Thanks, Albert.
All right. With that, Layla, I think I pass it off to you in order to go through the committees.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Albert and Jim. Thank you again for taking the time. That was really lovely and helpful discussion. And folks, please make note of the resources that are on the screen right now. We'll drop them in the chat as well. But definitely take advantage of these trainings. Okay, so we're going to keep it moving forward. This is the part of our monthly meeting where we go into updates from each of our 6 committees. And so it's time for our co-chairs of the committee or our board advisors to share with the rest of the group what they're working on right now and how the rest of the coalition can get involved. So I'm going to pass it over to Liz Bueller to update us on the Community Engagement Committee.
Liz Bueller. Thanks, Layla. Just wanted to give everyone an update on our big ideas. For those of you who are part of our committee, you know that at the start of our process, we created our big ideas or goals of our committee. So really excited. The biggest thing we want to talk about is that our AI 101 materials are now available, as are the talking points to leadership that we mentioned at our last coalition meeting. Those are all online. The matchmaking collaborative is continuing, and we're excited that in November there will be some completions and we can have report outs, not just at the coalition meeting, but also at the summit. Continue to work on our outreach methods and tactics. Let everyone know that the coalition are doing a central coalition public engagement event. We are on hold with that as we work on these other big ideas. Next slide, please, Chelsea. Thank you. The biggest thing that I am most excited about is next week, Data and Society and the Public Tech Leadership Collaborative are having this really great event. It's driving meaningful community participation in public sector technology adoption. That is a long name, but the committee co-chair, Meg Young, and some of her great colleagues at Data and Society are going to be having this session. If you've read Data and Society's Gear Shift, which I highly recommend to get excited about, engaging the public in a meaningful way, check out this session. It is going to be really great about, again, it's all about engaging the public on how we're using technology. So please come by. If you want to participate, reach out to Meg. Her email's at the bottom. And that's it for our committee update.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz. I'm really excited for that session. Okay, we're gonna pass it over to the Readiness and Adoption Committee. So Rich and Sahar, over to you.
Great, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Rich Oppenheim here from Government Services, co-chairing the Readiness and Adoption Committee. Our committee continues to focus on helping agencies prepare for and implement AI responsibly. Here is a quick overview of what we're working on. For AI upskilling playbooks, Lan Jensen and Rick Raffi continue to lead a very energized working group on upskilling. They're developing some practical playbooks with topics like getting started with AI training, rolling out an AI education plan, agents and custom GPTs. These playbooks are designed for agencies at all levels of readiness to provide guidance to help teams move forward on upskilling at their agency around AI technology and skills. They are also continuing work on exploring AI certification options for public sector staff and developing a GovAI Ask Me Anything tool, a resource to support assistance for coalition members to access all of the great resources here across the coalition. So thanks to Rick, Lon, and the entire upskilling group on all of their amazing work. They've really been running on all cylinders there. Also, Quinn and Maddie from the Center for Democracy and Technology are finalizing a briefing document with recommendations tailored for elected officials and senior leaders. This is going to be a foundational resource that will help decision makers engage with AI from a policy and governance perspective. And from that briefing document, they are hoping to potentially develop a training course for AI policy for policymakers around AI. So I'm really excited about that. Also wanted to mention that we are collaborating with Public Sector Network, which is a user-based social media platform where government employees can share, learn, and access local government contacts and resources, sort of like a LinkedIn for local government. The coalition has a landing page on the Public Sector Network, and we've created a space in our coalition profile on that page to link to landing pages for our training content. So this network will serve as one of our spaces for sharing AI training content generated by the coalition, and we'll be adding training content there as we move forward. We do have a landing page there that we've started for the AI in the Fire Service course that Jim is building out. We've got lesson 1 linked there as well. So it's accessible through that platform. Joining the Public Sector Network is free for government employees, and I'm going to drop a link if you want to check it out. And essentially what you do is log in, create a profile, and then you can search for the GovAI Coalition page there and add it to your profile for easy access. They have a lot of existing content outside of our organization, so there's lots of ways that you can reference other resources and content there, including other AI related content. The network also has a presence in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, so there's some exposure to international resources as well. But we'll update you as our usage in this space continues to evolve. And then last but
Rich,
not least, yeah.
oh, just a quick thing on the public sector network, because I saw this in the chat. The training that we're providing on for the coalition resources, are those at any cost?
No, it's all free. So once you sign up and have a profile and link to the GovAI Coalition page, you can access all of the content that we have on there for free. Right now, the only class we have uploaded is Jim's lesson 1 of his course, but it's accessible there. The YouTube link is accessible there through that service.
Awesome, awesome. And for folks, I can we'll also drop a link to the is there a more direct link to the public sector GovAI coalition page?
If I'll surface that and put it in the chat.
Oh, awesome. All right.
Yeah. Okay. And last but not least, Seher, as always, continues to provide personalized support for agencies that want direct help getting started or scaling up their AI journey. So if you need one-on-one help getting started with, accessing any of the resources here at the coalition and getting started and having a conversation about what to do first and how to start implementing, she is available. So you can reach out to Seher Noor, and she will have a great conversation with you to get you started in the coalition. And we'll put Seher's contact information in the chat as well for that. But that's it for our update this month.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rich. And I can't plug enough the office hours that Seher has so graciously volunteered to offer. If you're new to the coalition, if you're just getting started out with doing AI governance at your agency, I would definitely take her up on her offer and get some one-on-one time with her, and she can walk you through on how to get started. Thanks, Seher. I see you in the chat. Okay, cool. So we'll move on. Next up is Procurement Committee. I'll be taking the updates today for this one. I know Emily is out on vacation. So for the Procurement Committee, they're continuing to work on the cooperative procurement for the enterprise LLM tool. We'll continue to share updates with the broader coalition as that moves forward and once the RFP is open. The AI Contract Hub, please let us know, as always, if you have relevant AI contracts that we can add to that repository. And then just wanted to flag for the whole group, the committee is going to be meeting tomorrow for a monthly meeting that's at 11 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to be having some lovely guest speakers. They're very prolific researchers in the AI, responsible AI and procurement space. It's Roya Pegzad and Cynthia Conti-Cook. And they recently released a report called Key Considerations for Responsible AI Procurement in the Public Sector. And so tomorrow they're going to be sharing about that report and surfacing some highlights for our committee. And so if you're interested, definitely encourage you to join us tomorrow for that meeting. All right, so next I'm going to pass it to the Industry Relations Committee. So Yar, I think I'm handing it off to you.
Thank you, Leila. Hi, everyone. My name is Yar. I'm the co-chair of the Industry Relations Committee. Our update is going to be pretty quick here and not too much new stuff from last update. So the improved AI registry, the work is still going on that. The alpha tests have been complete. There's a closed beta version available to coalition members, and we've already reached out to the our wonderful procurement committee to see if they can participate in that as well. And if anybody else is interested, I think we can reach out to Hortus and have them add you as well. CMU research, that work is still in progress. They are open to more interview participants. So if you got any helpful information as far as relationships between the vendors and the government that could be good for this research. I encourage you to participate in that interview. Vendor focus group, that work is very exciting. We have scheduled our first meeting on August 29th. It's a closed vendor-only focus group, and we'll have about 4 sessions once a month or so. And so far, the group that reached out and that was assembled here is a pretty good group of vendors. So we're excited about that. Registry and fact sheets, the work on those still continues, even though the new AI registry is being built, and hopefully that will go live before the end of the year. You're still reviewing the fact sheets manually. So if you're a new member, a new vendor, and you would like to submit your AI fact sheet, we encourage you to do so, and we'll review that and add you to the database as soon as we can. That's it on our end.
Thank you, Yar. Great work going on in that committee. Hemant and Carrie, over to you for use cases.
Sure, I'll be happy to. I'm not sure if Kerry is online, but again, Hemant Desai, I'm one of the chairs of the use case committee. For many of you who joined us last week on the, I see you, Kerry, thank you. And Kerry, please feel free to add if I missed something in my summary. But last week we had an amazing, exciting presentation by Sabra on her team's approach to how to responsibly use AI in permitting process. So if you missed that session, I have a link in the presentation. Please feel free to check out the YouTube video. It was absolutely fantastic. I agree with you, Leila. It was so good because they not just provided the synopsis of the actual metric in terms of time saved, cost benefit, but also staff who owns GovStream AI gave a brief demo of some of the initial work they have begun doing. And more importantly, as we all believe in responsible use of AI, they are purposefully and intentionally doing it in an incremental format with very basic information, basically focusing entirely on internal content that makes it easy for the city residents to find information quickly, but then they will evolve that to more automated procedures for permitting process down the road. So I was very encouraged by this approach. And I know we had a permitting demo by other vendors and other city agencies. And I think everybody's doing a similar approach in different flavors, right? Doing it in piecemeal format so that it can be tested in a pilot session and then expanded to other areas of permitting, because permitting is so involved. So automating that process requires a thoughtful, intentional planning. So again, kudos to Sabra and you and your team, and certainly shout out to staff for taking time to provide a quick demo. So again, to reiterate, if you missed the session, please check out the YouTube video. It's very, very informative, and certainly I learned a lot from that session. That's all I have for this update.
Thanks so much, Hemant.
Sure.
Oh, I see there's actually another slide. Did you want to cover this?
Yeah, so Nicole is not into here today, but I just want to pinch it for her. So next week, stay tuned for another exciting demo by Darwin AI. So she's put a synopsis for what they're going to do is how we can use their AI platform to essentially, again, adopting AI in a safe manner, using the typical governance processes that you expect for responsible AI. So again, this is an exciting session that I'm looking forward to on September 2nd. So again, please stay tuned for that. So I hope many of you, if not all of you, can join us on September 2nd.
Yes, Can't emphasize that enough. These demos are super cool, so hope you all are able to attend and watch this next one that we have. Moving on, last but not least, we have our Data Governance Committee. I think I'm handing it off to Anthony for updates.
Yep, I'm on. Good afternoon, everyone. So first and foremost, we have something to celebrate. Our committee has just finished and finalized the data sharing agreement templates. So I want to give special shout out to RT and Sarah, who really helped bring this across the finish line through our committee. The City of Seattle and the Government Data Advisory Board from the state of Colorado actually submitted some of the information that created this DSA. So special shout outs to both of those agencies. But next, we're going to be working on a data governance strategy template. And we really want to thank the City of San Diego. They're submitting a template that we'll be using and putting some comments on. And that's really going to be the main focus of our next meeting on September 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific. So hope to see you all there. Again, really appreciate all the work that everybody's been putting into this committee and looking forward to bringing that data governance strategy template across the finish line. And with that, I'll pass it back to Layla.
Thank you, Anthony. Short and sweet, and some great news in there about the data sharing agreement template. Thanks so much. All right, folks, that brings us to the end. Just some quick next steps for everyone. Check out the August newsletter if you haven't taken a look yet. Some great resources in there. Please register for the summit. We really hope to see you all there in November. It's going to be a great time. Feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any questions about the summit, and make use of that new justification letter that we just published on the website. If you're new or you want to invite a friend to join the coalition, check out the introductory video. It's a great place to get started in the coalition and see how things work. But otherwise, that's all from us, and we hope to see you all at our next monthly meeting in September on the 24th. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a great
Layla.
rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yeah.